By the end of 1969, Michael Jackson, now 11 years old and reunited with his mother, was a bubbly, energetic, and happy youngster. All I want to know is to see how far we can go as a family, he told Soul magazine reporter Judy Spiegelman. I like show business, Hollywood, and all that stuff. There's things like Barry Gordy do to make you look good. I'm really excited about things. In December, Motown Records released their brothers' first album, Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5. It will go on to sell 629,363 copies, an amazing number for a debut album. And Britain it peaked at number 16 and remained in the top 10 for 4 weeks. Honestly, has always been a very special word for me. A special idea, Diana Ross wrote in the liner notes. But when I think of my own personal idea of honesty, I think of something being straight out, all there, on the table, the way it is. That's how I feel about the Jackson 5. Five brothers by the name of Jackson, who I'm discovered in Gary, Indiana. They've got great talent, Diana Ross concluded, and above all, they're honest. Michael Ray advanced proof of the album jacket in one of the Motown offices as his brothers and a promotion man looked on. Wouldn't even let us play our own instruments on the album, Teal grumbled. But here we are in the picture holding them like we played them. Don't seem right to me. In truth, Teal and Jermaine were not permitted to play their bass and guitar in the Motown sessions because Barry didn't think they were ready for studio work. All of the instrumental music was recorded by Motown's top team of musicians before the Jacksons even got to the studio. The boys will even have to learn to duplicate the sound as best they could for live performances. I think we should be playing on this record album here, Teal decided. Michael rolled his eyes. So? He asked. So it's not true, Teal said. It's not honest, like Miss Ross said on the jacket. And what about this part? Jermaine asked, still looking over Michael's shoulder. He pointed to Dinah's lines about discovering the group. They ain't honest either. Bobby Taylor was the one. Michael shrugged his shoulders. It's called public relations, he said, matter of faculty. Come on, guys, give it the. He was really into this image thing at a pretty early age, said Stan Sherman, the independent promotion man who witnessed the exchange. The other boys were sort of befooled by the lies, but not Michael. Once you explained to him, he not only agreed with it, but I think he even started to believe it. To me, that was frightening. He seemed willing and even eager to adjust to the fantasy of it all. Later in the month, on December 14th, 1969, the Jackson 5 appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. Although they had already made one national television appearance on the Hollywood Palace in October, being asked to perform on the Ed Sullivan Show was an important milestone in their career. The program couldn't credit its success to its hosts. Stiff and usually unsmiling, Sullivan, a columnist for the New York Daily News, did a little more to introduce his guests, whose names he routinely mispronounced or forgot. Once, when Smokey Robinson and the Miracles appeared, he introduced them as Smokey and his little Smokies. The lure of the show was its roster of guests, though. Newcomers knew they had the brass ring in their reach when they were asked to perform. Those already established were assured they were still on top. Ed Sullivan never bothered with has-beens or wannabes. As soon as Sullivan introduced this sensational group, Marlene, Jackie, and Michael, flanked by Taylor and Jermaine on guitar, started their set with their rendition of the Slide Stone song "Stand." There were just a variety of mod clothes purchased off the rack in Greenwich Village by Susan DePaz. Michael again was the star. When he sang, his eyes sparkled. He looked adorable in his magma cowboy hat. Anyone who saw the performance will remember how impossibly cute this little kid was while on that stage. No diamond in the rough, he already seemed a polished, seasoned performer. When he sang Can You Remember? His voice had a priority and range of tone that belied his years. By the time the Jackson 5 finished the self-rousing I Want You Back, the audience had been completely won over. Just to appear with Ed Sullivan was an accomplishment, but to receive such rousing applause seemed a clear prophecy for success. As was his tradition, Sullivan engaged in some minimal banter with his guests, but he soon returned his attention to a member of the audience. The person who discovered the Jackson 5, Diana Ross. Diana, clad in what could be only described as a grown-up version of a little girl's pink organda party dress, stood and modestly took a bow. The difficult task at hand for Motown was to follow Jackson 5's first number 1 hit record with another chart topper. Since it was his policy to allow the writers and producers of a hit song the opportunity to come up with another one just as successful, Barry Gordy gave the chore to Deck Richards and the corporation. One night I was at Fonz's Mizzle and Freddie's parent apartment and we were fooling around on their electric piano, recalled Deck Richards, and I started thinking about Holland, Dozier, and Holland and how Duffin did the same types of records over and over again. Using the same progressions, theirs was a proven hit formula. So I took a section of I Want You Back, the part where the group sings the chorus, and decided to make those exact same chords the foundation of their next single. I was sitting at the piano playing chords and I came up with the lyric ABC. Fonz and Freddie looked at me like I was crazy. So now what? I asked myself. I know how about 1, 2, 3. By now the guys thought I was nuts, and then I came up with the next line. Do and me. And I finished with the Big Bang. You and me. That's it. Dick told his partners, laughing. That's a hit. In a short time, the three men were in the studio recording the song ABC with Michael and his brothers. I loved ABC from the first moment I heard it, Michael said. I have more enthusiasm for what I did than I did for I Want You Back. It was such a hot song, such a great idea with a hot track. I couldn't wait to record it. I remember when Deck and the other guys were coming up with the middle of the song right there on the spot. Cinnamon girl, I think I love you. Then it was shake it, baby, like the Contours and old groups like that. I didn't know you could do that in the studio. Just come up with the parts like that at the last time. In February 1970, Motown released ABC as the second Jackson 5 single. It went straight to the top Billboard charts in just 6 weeks, supplementing Let It Be by the Beatles. The songs, which sold 2,214,790 copies, even more copies than I Want You Back, seemed to poke fun and also make acceptable a new and growing trend in popular music. The prominently white bubblegum style in the UK, the song peaked at number 8 and remained in the charts for almost 3 months. With ABC's buzzing bass, sprightly keyboard, and charming chorus, the Jackson 5 were on a roll. Freddie Perry recalled after those two hits, Barry kept asking, What about the follow up? What about the follow up? He really wanted to bring that third one home. We were cutting the track for that third song at the Sound Factory in Hollywood. Barry never came to tracking sessions, but he came to this one. He listened for about 15 minutes and said, "I'm not worried. You guys get another hit," and he left. That's when we knew we had the third hit. The song was "The Love You Save," which was released in May 1970. Another terrific teeny bopper song with a breathless lead by Michael. For "The Love You Save," a key verse and a pleading chorus were the bait. The infectious combination of guitars and percussion, the hook. Just as Dick Richards predicted, the cooperation developed a successful hit formula for the Jackson 5 in such the same way that Holland Dozier Holland had done for the Supremes. Diana and the girls' first three number one hits, "Where Do Your Love Go," "Baby Love," and "Come Say About Me," were basically the same song with the chord structures cleverly changed in the right spots. Deck and the company applied the same magical twist to "I Want You Back" in ABC and "The Life You Save." Songs that sound so much alike is easy for the you needed to confuse them. Barry had one of three number one songs for the Jackson 5, and as usual, he got what he wanted. At 1,948,761 copies sold, the Live Received came up a bit short in comparison to the sales of the preceding two singles, but was still considered a huge hit. In England, it reached number 7 and was in the charts for almost 2 months. The song also gave the Jackson 5 the distinction of being the first group of the rock and roll era to have the first three songs to go to the top of the charts. Again, they knocked the Beatles, The Long and Winding Road, out of the number one spot.